Dodgers, and here struggles. Barger sends a towering drive, right center field, kiss it goodbye!
What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. Well, this is not how the Los Angeles Dodgers envisioned that Game 1 of the World Series would go. The defending champions came into this game as the heavy favorites to win it all, and they had good reason to believe that. They came off a dominant performance against the Milwaukee Brewers, sweeping them in the NLCS, while the Blue Jays had to come back from, I believe, a 2-0 deficit and had to fight their way through 7 games against the Seattle Mariners. On paper, with them being the defending champions and with their recent history, the Dodgers should have been the favorites. But they have a problem. And the biggest problem that they have had is their bullpen. It has been amateur hour throughout the year when it comes to their bullpen. And if it was not for the top-heavy star power of more or less, I believe, the offense of that team and the starters of that team, they would be in trouble. You know what I'm saying? But the Blue Jays this year have been amazing offensively, and they're on the verge. They still have to win 3 more games in this series, but they're within striking distance of winning, I believe, their 3rd World Series. They haven't been into the World Series since 1993, since Joe Carter hit that famous game in the World Series, clinching a home run. I think it was in Game 6 of that series against the Philadelphia Phillies. In the opening game of the 2025 World Series, they completely blew apart the Dodgers in a completely one-sided game. The Jays got after starter Blake Snell, and they forced the Dodgers to trot out their shaky bullpen. And the key, the game-altering blow came from pinch hitter Addison Barger. Barger hit a clutch grand slam against Anthony Banda in the 6th inning that put Toronto up 9-2 in the game. And that was the altering blow. I believe going into that inning, the game was tied at 2-2. Going out that inning, the game was 9-2. They totally fell apart in that. Some of the Dodgers, they totally fell apart in that inning. You know, I hate to say this, because it might be a bit of a stretch, but you can make some parallels a little bit with the Golden State Warriors and Raptors series in 2019, right? Before I go forward, shout out to the brother Zach Hankins for the donation to the channel via the Cash App. I usually say this at the beginning of the video, but I forgot to mention that. Shout out to you for showing up. The Warriors, I think if they were healthy, number one, in that series, because the Raptors dealing with injuries, remember, as well in 2019. But the Warriors, of course, were dealing with an injury, what was described as a lower leg injury to Kevin Durant. He did make a brief return in that series. It might have been game 5 or 6, I can't remember now. But he re-aggravated the injury. Actually, not re-aggravated, excuse me. He suffered an Achilles rupture, which kept him out the entire 2019-20 NBA season. And then I think in game 6, that's when the Warriors lost Klay Thompson to what was an ACL injury. And then during his rehab process from the ACL injury, he ruptured his Achilles. And he's never been the same player since then. But anyway, a parallel I want to make is that Warrior squad was top heavy. Their starters were all world, but their bench, the same bench that had been so strong a couple years earlier, 2015, 2016, was their weakness. And sometimes teams were able to overcome the Warriors, and beat them if their bench was strong and they outscored the Warriors' bench, which ultimately led to the Warriors starters having to play more minutes, which sometimes left them fatigued and sometimes left them finishing games weaker than the 2015 and 16 Warriors would finish. But anyway, that's a little bit of a parallel. Can the Dodgers still win this thing? Absolutely. They can still win it. It's not out of the realm possibility for them to win this, but they're going to have to do something about the situation with the bullpen. It's really getting out of hand, and if their bullpen continues to play this poorly, as a matter of fact, if their starters continue to play this poorly to the point where they're getting taken out of the game earlier, then the Blue Jays might be in for, or the Blue Jays might just be able to win this thing in a walk. The first 11 postseason games this playoff run, the Jays are hitting over 285 with runners in scoring position, the highest of any team that made the LCS. And it's their offense right now. It's clicking so much. You hear a lot of Dodgers fans saying, the Toronto Blue Jays need to be drug tested and all that crap. But right now, the Dodgers bullpen is shorthanded and struggling. They're dealing with injuries too, from what I can understand. And I don't know, man. I think that this, obviously, after just one game, it's not over. But man, you just kind of sometimes get a sense of how something's going to go down, even after one game. And I don't think this is going to be whatever. If anybody thought that this is going to be a 4-1, 4-2 series, I don't get that impression at all. I think this is going to be, at the very least, a hard-fought series. But look, remember the Blue Jays were just down 2-0 to the Mariners. So this is a really, really good team. And I get a feeling if the Dodgers go down 2-0, man, I think they're going to lose this series. If they can come back and win game 2, then they can make a series of this thing. But anyway, that's just my take on it, man. Those of you who know baseball better than me, give me your thoughts, man, because, like I said, I'm not the biggest baseball guy anymore, but I'm trying to get more into it. And I'm trying to learn more about some of these players and how things are stacking up in the National League and the American League now. I used to be really big in baseball up until the mid-2000s. Like, if this was the 20-year-old version of me, man, I could do baseball videos all day. But, I kind of got out of watching it, so, I didn't even know anybody who some of these players were for a while. But anyway, tell me what you guys think.